And we do the Star Goddess podcast every Monday at 98rock.com on the Crash and AJ blog. And it is that time, ladies. Good morning.
Good morning.
About time. Yes. How you doing, girl?
I'm doing great. I love this. Is my favorite thing to do, these podcasts, because it gives me a chance. It gives me a chance to expand on what's going on in individuals' lives, something that I can't do, when you have a minute to do all 12 signs. And I think, and I really like it. It's one of my favorite features. I get a lot of positive feedback on it, too.
Yeah,
and when it's not there, they're like, hey, what's going on? Can you post this thing?
And
people start to go, I'm lost out here. Help me out. So
kick our feet up a little bit, get the theme and stuff like that. We've got this. I felt like a little 2020 was bleeding into our 2021, but you kind of corrected me on that.
And I'm so happy. As a Virgo, as a human being, I'm happy that Mars is finally out of Aries, because 6 months of the god of war in any sign is going to create conflict and hostility. The last time I think Mars was retrograde in 1980 was 1988. That's when the Dodgers won the World Series. But I just think that 6 months, and Aries is such aggressive energy, and to have it opposing, the outer planets just made for a lot of stress. And I think that that's starting to ease. And with Mars in Taurus now for the next 6 weeks, I think that it's important to know where that you can, because Mars is the planet of ego-oriented projections, where you project your energy out into the world. I really think it's your dick. Everybody's got one, and you want to project it. So, and Mars is the planet of anger, because we get angry at something and we want to change it. That's what makes us work to change something, is we're not happy with that particular outcome. And so I think that Mars going into Taurus, it's important to know where in your life you can create something with this energy rather than just have it be destructive and tear stuff down.
And you guys don't, if you're not familiar, AJ is the Taurus of the show, so we always now I'm kind of paying attention to see, what's going on with AJ here. All right.
Yeah. So for Capricorns, the sign that we are in now, our dark, for Capricorns everywhere, they have struggled so hard over the last 6 months with Mars at the very bottom of their chart. It's been a very difficult thing for them. People are seeing that because Capricorn kind of rules business. You're seeing a lot of business, all with the coronavirus and all that jazz going out. But that stuff's over. And for Capricorns everywhere, they can literally put their toe back in the water and go, okay, I think that I can begin to do some creative things. I can make some changes. They're feeling, they're actually finally starting to feel the love again. And for Capricorns, they want to make a lot of money. And so my advice looking at Mars going into Taurus in their 5th house is find something that you do, that you enjoy doing, and find a way to do that and make money doing it.
What is
the challenge to take?
The date for the month and date for Capricorn?
For Capricorn. Capricorn runs from the winter solstice on the 22nd of December until the 19th, actually to the 18th of January.
Okay, so I got 4 Capricorns, 4 lady Capricorns in my life somehow, some way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they're all going to be fired up and doing a bunch of creative different things. It's going to be much easier to live with those 4 Capricorns now that they're not mad at home anymore than it has in the last 6 months. So for them, it's a very creative time. It's a very fertile time. They need to be aware of that, too. They need to be proactive and understand that the byproduct of love and creativity can take on a life of its own, either physically in the sense of a child or esoterically in a child of your mind, an idea you give birth to, but then you're responsible for it.
All right, gave my niece. My niece is the Capricorn. Her birthday was a couple days ago. Gave her a guitar for graduation. Going to give her some lessons, the Fender app. So is this?
Nice.
She didn't really ask for it, but I gave it to her, and I figured that I would give it a shot. And she seems to. Would she be? To pick that up?
Very in keeping with that. I want to do something that's fun, something that's entertaining, something that's creative, and I can't think of anything cooler than learning how to play guitar.
Okay.
I love it. And I play guitar as a release. When I'm mad at something, but usually when I break up with a guy or a guy breaks up with me, I end up writing them a country western song to send them on their way, that kind of thing. So I think it's a wonderfully creative time for Capricorns, and I think this energy is very, very favorable for them.
Okay.
For Aquarians, this is very tough energy. This energy, thank God this is only 6 weeks long for Aquarians. It's in their 4th house of home. And I think that there are changes at home that have to occur that Aquarians have sort of been putting up with. And I'm guessing, the coronavirus thing probably stopped them from doing what they needed to do. But now that seems to be, as far as vaccines go, I think that Aquarians are now going to try very hard to cut loose the things that are not working in their life at home so they can make way to create new things. Because Jupiter is in their sign, which is their best due start in 12 years, and Saturn is in their sign, saying the things that they create can endure. And so what they want to do is make sure that they clear out whatever the debris is at home so their foundations are solid so they can do this expansion thing and they can welcome the new things that Aquarius is bringing into their lives this year. So, but it's challenges at home for sure. And to Aquarians, if you're going to remodel your home or do anything like that, for God's sake, move to the beach while you're doing it. Don't stay in your house while you are remodeling it. And try not to do anything between January 30th and February 20th because Mercury is retrograde. And I've learned that the mistakes you make at the beginning of a project end up costing you thousands of dollars down the road because they get magnified. So,
and when does
that
Mercury retrograde start?
Mercury retrograde is January 30th through February 20th. So
good.
Every 90 days, whether we need it or not, there's that little adjustment that comes to be. And you just don't want to sign anything, begin anything, believe what you hear. We'll talk about that more when we get to that, as to where it's going to be in the individual lives. For Pisces, this energy is great energy for Pisces. It's in their third house of day-to-day living. Pisces has spent a bundle of money over the last 6 months. Literally, they have their bank account is just hemorrhaged red for the last 6 months. Well, that ends. And now there's something they get either short distance, short duration travel. The pace of their day-to-day living picks up, and it's something they can manage. I think they get an opportunity for some sort of additional education or some kind of learning thing that's going to end up giving them not like a master's degree, but like a certificate or something that will help them make more money and to move more freely around their own world. There's some sort of communication, some sort of negotiation that goes very favorably for the Pisces. And the Pisces, what they're really doing is setting themselves up for a brand new start that for them starts in April and May. So it's sort of like they want to finish up stuff they've already got going. They want to try and reorganize their daily living to something that they can really manage and learn something useful that will help them get to where it is they want to be in April and May. For Aries, and I have to duck because I know, AJ, you're an Aries rising. Mars in Taurus in our second house of money. We are fixing to spend a boatload of money. I know that my rising sign is Aries. Last week I had the air conditioner. Literally Wednesday, Mars went into Taurus. On Thursday, my air conditioner started leaking. I had that done. $400 here, that kind of thing. It is,
actually,
and, then yeah.
You mentioned that. I just realized, I just got a bill in the mail the last couple of days for doctors, anyway. So that was a big bill that surprisingly came in. I had no idea about because I've already paid all these other bills. And I'm like, where is this from? Why are these charges already? But anyway.
Yeah.
And then my car, I've got to buy a new vehicle. So you are right on the money once again, Janet.
I hate it. I hate it. And I kind of saw this coming. It's like, man, I need to not spend so much on Christmas because I know I'm going to have these expenses. I had my grandson over the weekend. Went to give him a bath, and it turns out the stopper in my tub doesn't work. So now I get to call. I had an air conditioning guy last week. This week I get a plumber. It's like, and it just started. 6 weeks of being nickeled and dimed to death for Aries. It's not my favorite transit. I'm glad that only happens once every 22 months or so, and I'm happy that it's not it's not going to be 6 months. And it's going to kind of be in and out. So, but for Aries everywhere, it's about spending more money on unanticipated expenses. And to Aries, I say, for God's sake, fix it right the first time. Don't cheap out. Don't try and put a Band-Aid on it because it'll end up costing you way more down the road. Okay. So, for Tauruses, Mars is in their sign for the first time in 2 years, and they are going to be fired up. And I mean that in a very good sense, not in a negative sense. They're going to feel positive. They're going to be optimistic. They're going to be future going. They're going to have plenty of energy to make things happen, which is good for people signing contracts. It means you're going to be around, and, I'm afraid you get a little more authority, probably not a lot more money, maybe an additional other duty. But the thing that's so beautiful about this is the Taurus finally has the ability to say what it is they think, to say what it is they feel, to be able to put things into motion and take ownership of those things and do well with it.
You mean you haven't done that yet, AJ? You haven't spoke your thoughts yet? Oh my gosh!
Well, surprise!
I know, ladies and gentlemen, you would have to nails out to get him to stop talking.
I'm brace myself.
Yeah, yeah, you really should because there's just no stopping it. Once the bull gets going, boy, there is no. Once they get that mass in motion, there's no stopping it. It's that kind of thing. Once they go forward on that path, there's just no getting out of their way. You know, they're
I
going
love
to
the
go forward
stubbornness.
to what it is.
That's right. Mhm.
Yeah, they don't quit, even sometimes when they should. Hard to tell. For
Yeah.
Geminis, this is very rough energy for Geminis. Mars is in their 12th house of their own undoing. It is behind the scenes. And Mars, you don't need a worst enemy as long as you're alive when Mars is in your 12th house, because you do yourself in. You don't have to have people help you do it. You do it yourself. And because Taurus doesn't quit, Mars and Taurus, even though Geminis will be faced with the information like this is not having the favorable outcome you want, it will not stop them. It will not dissuade them. If they're going to go down, they're going to go down in flames. You know, every time I look at Gemini, I hear the Talking Heads song "Burning Down the House." You know, and I think, golly, do you really have to do that everywhere in your life? But there's just, it's almost as though with Mars behind your sign, you are compelled to do yourself in. So for Geminis everywhere, I wish you good luck with that energy.
Oof.
You know, you've got to find a way to try and look at it and go, okay, what are the less desirable characteristics that I have, and how can I modify them a little bit? I'm not saying stop them, but there's no reason to just keep stubbornly holding on to something that isn't working. So for Geminis, they are going to find that in their life. They started knowing this in June, and it gets reinforced as Mars and Taurus goes on. They don't really get their voice back till Mars goes into Gemini, which is 6 weeks from now. It's like the beginning of March. So for Geminis everywhere, this is very challenging energy. And all I can say is don't do yourself in. That's the big thing for Geminis. For Cancers, this is great energy for Cancers, which I think is good for the United States because the United States is a Cancer. Mars is in our 11th house of hopes, wishes, goals, and objectives. And it's a very harmonious angle to Cancer. So it's a matter of the group working to give the Cancer what the Cancer says that they want and need. And it's their well-placed female friends and colleagues that will help the Cancer rather than male friends and colleagues, which is kind of interesting, too, if you look around the United States and see what's going on. So, yay, women, the way I kind of look at it. But it's a good chance to reach for the brass ring. It's a good chance for Cancers everywhere to really, something that they've been working for 8 to 10 years can come to be over the next 6 weeks or so for Cancers. I just think that's good news all the way across the board. And because Jupiter's in their 8th house, if they need to heal from some sort of injury, I think that bodes well for the United States. You know, once we get...
It's been injured.
You know,
the United States has been injured, basically.
It has been injured. Yeah, it really has been. It really has been. You know, and this gives you the chance to heal, which is what, and again, a consensus, whatever the group wants, I'm okay with. You know, that's the majority kind of thing, and I'm good with it. But they will be able to do more and more and more of that. For Leos, this energy is in their 10th house of career and public standing. It's in front of the judge. And Leos, they kind of get a report card on how they've done over the last 2 years or so professionally. This is not a personal report card. This is a professional report card. And it depends on the kind of job. I think because Jupiter is opposing their sign, they get a favorable report.
Okay.
I
Should I
think
get the teachers an apple or something? Should I just,
yeah,
sure.
another contract. Unfortunately, I think the trouble with that comes with an additional other duty, another job that goes along with it. It's like, look, you've done such a good job with this, and you did such a good job with that. We want you to duplicate that. And you're like, well, okay, do I get a bigger title? They go, no. Do I get more money? Not a lot. You know,
that's the radio business, pretty much. I think, right? It's pretty much.
Yeah. So the big thing there is don't get into any fights you're not expressly invited to attend.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's the trouble because with Mars in the top of when you do well professionally, other people are going to come gunning for you. That kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to step in front of something if you don't need to.
Gotcha.
So
I'll look out for that.
Yeah. But other than that, I think it's a very good time professionally for Leos. They will get a lot of attention one way or the other, which is, can't beat that. Somebody said there's no bad press. I think there is bad press. I don't think that's the case here. I just think that there's more work for you to do because of the job you've done over the last 2 years.
Gotcha.
I just wish there was more money that came along with it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how you can ameliorate that.
Gotcha.
For Virgos, yay, great energy for Virgos. Mars is in the 9th house of the law. Legal matters go very well for us. Important matters at a distance go very well for us. Virgos, if you're going to, ask for something, make sure you do it in person. You need to make the trip and go and do that. Legal matters, educational matters, school matters go very favorably. Contracts, negotiations. It is a very easy energy for Virgos. And Virgos, have spent a boatload of money over the last 6 months or so, and at least that stops for them. I think there's some long-distance travel that pops up for Virgos, and they really need to go. It's even though, coronavirus and all that jazz, they still need to go and handle matters in person. They do their best work in person anyway, so there's no reason not to do that.
My girlfriend has been spending. She's had these like different bills have come in, different unexpected expenses. She's been paying left and
where
right.
did that come from?
Yeah.
But that ends, and it also looks like she starts flying a lot more too, a lot more long distance travel.
Okay. She's been looking for something other than these. She doesn't like the trips to like boring places. She likes the trips to like some places that she can go out and explore a little bit. So
go shop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that happens right away. I don't think that happens till March.
Got you.
For her,
Right.
for the interesting places. But there is more long distance travel in store for Virgos everywhere.
Okay.
For Libras, Libras they have Mars in their 8th house of other people's resources. Libras are going to try and capitalize on other people's resources. It's not their own personal stuff. It's stuff that they deal with other people. Either, and I'm not sure how they have jointly held resources, but there are going to be a lot of expenditures occurring with that. When Virgos have gone through, with unanticipated bills, Libras run through that for the next 6 weeks or so. It's not the end of the world. But the important thing for Libras is something new comes to light. That's a piece of information that they needed to have that strengthens their hand, and they get to play it. It's the only way to describe it.
Okay.
So I'm not quite sure what it is, but I do know that it strengthens their hand, and it gives them the upper hand in this engagement, which is a very cool thing for them because they have not had that in a long time. If they can bet on anybody, they need to bet on themselves this time because I think that
in card analogies, they just drew a face card, and they're looking good with it. Is that a good analogy right there?
Nice. That is a good analogy. Yeah, like drawing an ace kind of deal. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. And also, if they have any kind of medical stuff that they're dealing with, I don't think it's as scary as they think it is, or is that they were afraid that it was.
Okay.
So I think that alone is kind of cause to celebrate.
Good.
For Scorpios, Mars is opposing their sign for 6 weeks, and everybody's going to be pointing at Scorpios going, you. The buck stops with you. You need to make a decision. It's all about the Scorpio is going to have to put up or shut up kind of energy is what it is. And they have to realize that people that are pointing the finger at them saying, you, are actually looking for the Scorpio to do some sort of leadership stuff. And I don't know. I can't imagine them not rising to that particular occasion because Scorpio is the most controlling sign in the zodiac. So they're the ones that usually say, when they're like, put the ball in my hands, I can do it, or let me get up to bat, I can do it, that kind of thing.
Now Biden, President-elect Biden's a Scorpio, right?
Yeah, and everybody's looking at him going, what are you going to do about this? He's going, the Congress needs to do it, and everybody's going, you're going to be the president. What are you going to do? Get used to it, Joe, because that's going to happen a lot, especially over the next 6 weeks or so.
Interesting.
And I don't know that he's going to be able to dispatch his vice president to go handle it for him. It's going to be stuff that the Scorpio is going to have to do because that's his job. That's the Scorpio job, is going to have to assume leadership. And Scorpio, regardless, whether you're a teacher in a classroom, whether you're, a worker on a site, you're still going to have to accept the fact that you're responsible for stuff and just to go do your job. Pretty much the best part of it. So, and if they do that, they'll get a good result.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm saying. They'll get a good result, and they'll get that good result. They'll know that answer by April at the latest. So, for Sagittarius, this energy is in the 6th house of work crash for your rising sign. More work. When I look at with Leo's got Mars in the 10th house, and Sagittarius got Mars in the 6th house, it's like, yes, there is an additional other duty headed your way.
Right.
Because you've done a good job. It's like,
this is a common theme, it looks like here. Yeah, there's
unfortunately.
In our line of work, sometimes you get more work, but sometimes it's enjoyable work. Sometimes it's work where you're like, all right, I don't mind doing this work.
Right. This is not difficult stuff, and Sagittarians have sort of been preparing for this over the last 6 months or so. Facilitating the act of doing that. It's not like somebody just goes, hey, you're in charge now, what are you going to do? And you're like, wow, lucky for me, I've been thinking about this for 6 weeks, and I know what I'm going to do the minute I get the okay to go ahead and do it. So it's not particularly glamorous, but it's a period of hard work that will pay off and bring you a very, very good result.
Okay.
That's the thing you have to look at, that the result, the upshot is going to be really, really good for it. So It's worth doing a little extra work now kind of deal. You know, just get it. And literally, I keep hearing, the get her done thing in my head. So for Sagittarius, get her done.
I've been looking in the keyhole. I've been seeing stuff going on in there. We'll open the door and just tackle it, I guess, right?
Yeah. Just jump in, both seats, because you're going to get a good result. And more importantly, you're prepared for this.
Yep.
That's the thing. You've had 6 months to kind of prepare for it. So that's tomorrow's news today for the 12 signs of the zodiac, with Mars finally out of the fiery, combustive sign of Aries and gone into the earthy, practical, stubborn sign of Taurus. And that tells me that the things it creates can be enduring. Enduring, not just a lot of passion, a whole lot of noise and gone, but enduring kind of stuff. So I'm cautiously optimistic that things are going to get better.
Good.
Ooh.
And that literally, I know that I left my door open on New Year's at midnight to make sure that old year left. And
well, we even did. AJ and I even did a cleanse, so we got all the 2020 out.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Right now.
You're hitting your okay.
Yep, I'm on bottle number 2. Yes,
Yeah,
I love this bottle. Number 2 and number 3. So good.
And Wednesday we have a new moon, and I'm very much looking forward to the new moon in Capricorn, because that's kind of like also new starts, kind of washes things clean. So I'm cautiously optimistic that we can move forward this week better than moving backwards.
All right.
That you can hope for, I guess.
Hope everybody has a good week. And you can always hit us up, Crash or AJ at 98rock.com if you got questions for Star Goddess, all right?
Yeah, just make sure to include your date of birth of all parties involved in your very specific question. Don't give us 2 days and then finance. Now, we need the details. So get specific with it and feel free to hit us up. Doesn't matter if it's about love, it's about a job, if it's about seeing a doctor, if it's about a threesome, whatever the case may be.
That's right.
No question is off limits.
All right, ladies. Have a great week.
Always a pleasure. You guys take care.
You too.
Star Goddess Podcast right here at 98rock.com.